What's up, guys? Matt Brown here for TheLines.com. Last road show before we get on the plane back to Las Vegas here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, after a big win, LSU over Alabama. But listen, let's talk some Monday Night Football between the Ravens and the New Orleans Saints. As we sit right now, guys, we are looking at 1.5 in this one in favor of the Baltimore Ravens. A total of 46.5 is your total. Again, everything we do absolutely free here, so please go ahead, hit that subscribe button down below, give us a thumbs up, and then let us know in the comment section, how are you going to play this game? Okay, so look, full disclosure before we get into the breakdown here, because that's what we do on this show. When we get bad numbers, we get bad numbers. We get good numbers until we get good numbers. This thing opened at a book in Vegas at 4, and I have a Saints +4 ticket in my account. I know that doesn't do you any good. I just want to let you know where my frame of reference coming is. I already had a Saints bet in the account whenever we went to kind of, go into this. And of course, the numbers fallen a ton because of this right here. As you see on the screen, this is this injury report for Baltimore, and it's about as bad as could possibly be. So mainly Rashad Bateman gone for the season. Mark Andrews is not going to play in this one. Gus Edwards is not going to play in this one. Between Bateman and Andrews alone, that's over 40% of the target share for Lamar Jackson. Yeah, I mean, look, we know, yes, they're a run-heavy team, but when they pass, they basically pass to Bateman or to Andrews. Both guys going to be out. Of course, Bateman for the entire season and Andrews out tonight. Marcus Peters, they're really hoping can get back out there. The other problem is one of the fill-in wide receivers for Bateman being out was going to be Demarcus Robinson, and Demarcus Robinson got downgraded through the course of the week. So something happened to him in practice this week, and he's listed as questionable. So even if he does go, a late addition to the injury report in the middle of the week is never great, right? So just kind of brutal. The Saints do have some bad ones as well. Of course, Michael Thomas is out long-term for them. Lattimore hasn't been able to play in a few weeks for them either. And then no Ingram tonight for them, so it should be the Alvin Kamara show for the Saints. We'll scroll down here if you want to read along Eli's breakdown in all of this. But guys, pretty simple for me in this one, the way that I liked it, again, last Sunday when it lined open, I still like it here today, is I think the Saints will have some pretty good success on the ground in this game. And I figured that there was going to be a pretty decently terrible injury report for Baltimore, and that's exactly what came to fruition. We do find ourselves with the Saints still as underdogs in this. I would play them just on the money line at this point if I wanted to come in on the Saints. What we have in Baltimore is, even though the pass defense has been okay-ish, we're looking at the 25th overall run defense according to DVOA. Pro Football Focus agrees that they're not one of the better ones in the upper half of the league, to have them in the bottom half of the league. As far as rush defense goes, they haven't tackled very well. They're in the bottom third in the league in tackling, and then their rush defense success rate comes in at 23rd in the NFL as well. So what we have here is a team that can be run on, right? And like a team like these other teams can move the ball against them on the ground. And listen, while the pass offense for the Saints hasn't always been that great, and certainly hasn't been as efficient game in, week to week to week, the run offense has actually been pretty good. And if you agree with DVOA, they're a top 6 unit. If you prefer Pro Football Focus, they're more of a top 10 unit, top 11-ish unit when it comes to rush offense. But their adjusted line yards are top 5. Their rush success rate is top 4. They're 4th overall in the NFL. Yards per rush, 7th. So they have been able to find consistent success on the ground running the ball so far this season. And again, now we come into a game in which Baltimore does get a little bit better on the defensive line, but it's more from their pass rushing aspect, not from their rush defense aspect. And you have a team that no Michael Thomas, Jarvis Landry's questionable, though he was able to get out there and practice for them this week. And I imagine that they will heavily lean on the path of least resistance, which is running the football against this Baltimore team. And I expect Baltimore, and I'll scroll here if you want to continue to read on with some of the stuff that Eli thinks about this one. And I actually, look, Baltimore, they're going to run the ball as well, even though that is not the path of least resistance against New Orleans. whereas their rush defense has actually been an upper half, upper third, maybe even top 10 run defense all season long. Pass defense leaves a little bit to be desired, specifically with Lattimore out of there. It's just, I don't know. I can't imagine Harbaugh is going to go to the game plan early and often to throw in the ball unless it gets forced upon him, because they don't have anybody to throw to. Devin Duvernay is not going to be able to get it done as your number one wide receiver. I mean, I say that he's going to have to be tonight, obviously, but I'm just saying, like, that's probably not the best way to go about it whenever Andrews isn't out there to just go pass heavy and try to rely on Devin Duvernay. So that being said, I do believe that I do believe, and we'll come down here, Eli's thoughts on the total. Look, kind of the same as mine, which is this thing is plummeted, obviously, with the injury news that came out. This was sitting closer to 49. It's down to 46.5. If this were to get to 47, and we know that primetime bettors like to bet the overs, if this got to 47, I'm not jumping up and down about it, but I would still lean to the under. The path of least resistance, again, for the Saints is going to be to run the ball. The Ravens want to run the ball. And we do have a Saints defense that's pretty good and a Ravens defense that isn't atrocious. So I don't see this thing breaking out into some sort of crazy firefight. So if we got to that key-ish number of 47, again, we want to get to 47, I would be coming in on the under if I was going to play the total in this one. Looking over here, of course, our prop finder tool. Lamar's going to have a day if they're going to have any success. And when I say have a day, I mean have a day like on the ground running the ball. No Gus Edwards tonight. It's going to be Kenyon Drake. And so with all of that, I'm actually going to be looking at his rush yards and I'm going to try to get him over, the 58 here tonight. And I think that this game plays decently close. I don't think this is any sort of repeat of what we saw with the Saints and the Raiders. And I think Lamar is going to have to just get it done with his legs. And so I'm going to bank on them going to a bunch of designed runs for Lamar, some improvised stuff, of course, when he does drop back and all that, and him getting to the 58. But on the other side of the coin, I just mentioned, no Mark Ingram, easier to run on Baltimore than to pass, and Saints have run efficiently all season long. I think this number is too short because I think this number maybe reflects that there's going to be a bunch of carries siphoned off by an RB2 or whatever, and I don't believe that to be the case. With no Ingram, I think that they just go really, really Kamara heavy. So do like the over 62.5 here. So we're gonna think that these guys get it done with their legs in Lamar and with Kamara tonight. The only other thing I would look at, so Isaiah Likely is the tight end that is likely to fill in and get the most looks for the Ravens. And if we look here, I don't necessarily love the yardage, and it doesn't look like they posted quite yet the receptions. But if we get like a 1.5 would be the easiest over, in my opinion, of the night for kind of like who gets more looks and who gets some more attention for Baltimore. Even at 2.5 receptions, I would be looking for the over as well. Those will be posted at some point throughout the day. They just want to make sure they get all of the injury report stuff in. But yardage, I mean, it would be very easily, it could be very easy for him to catch 4 or 5 balls and still not get to the 41 yards. So I don't love the yardage as much as I do the actual receptions. Same game parlay for this one. Look, this tells the story of a Saints win, but a close-ish game, right? So just Saints money line. Kamara gets in the end zone. We already talked about this. I think he's going to get the 90% of the touches tonight, if not more. So Kamara gets in the touchdown, gets in the end zone. If the Saints win, I can't imagine that the Ravens are going to be able to score 28 plus points. I just don't think this gets into a shootout. So I have the Ravens under 27.5 points in this one. If the Saints are going to win, I think they need to score at least 20. So I have the Saints at over 19.5. And then, like I said, I think Lamar is going to have to, if this stays close, which, like I said, I think that it will, Lamar's going to have to get there with 54.5 rush yards. So over on that pays out at 7.5 to 1. So again, Saints money line, Kamara gets in the end zone. I don't think the Ravens can score 28 and the Saints still win. So I have under 27.5. I think the Saints are going to have to score at least 20 to win. So 20 points over 19.5 for them. And then Lamar with his legs gets it done at 54.5. But again, it'd be Saints money line for me tonight, guys. If I was coming in at this point, I don't think I don't think you really need to take the 1.5. There's always the option, of course, though, where it does sit at 1.5 or 2, that if you did want to open up a teaser, you could do that as well. So you could roll this into next week if you wanted to do that. Just don't forget that that's always an option. I know you can go from week to week, right? Connecting things and stuff. And sometimes people forget that. So you could open a teaser in this game and roll it into a game for week 10. So just keep that in mind as well. Everything we do, guys, absolutely free. So please hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, and let us know in the comment section, how are you going to play this thing? Is there a prop that you like better than the ones that I kind of pointed out here? And what do you think? Did the Ravens find a way to get it done with no receivers, or did the Saints get it done at home, just relying on that ground game? Do let me know in that comment section, and good luck on all your bets here on Monday Night Football.